Hey everybody, my name's Will, and in this video, I'll be giving you my presentation of An Angel in Disguise by T.S. Arthur. Timothy Shea Arthur was born on June 6, 1809 in Orange County, New York. Due to poor health, he had little formal education, let alone an education at all. As he grew up, he heard many stories about his grandfather that was in the Revolutionary War through his mother. He was read the Bible very often and relied on his faith to get him through tough times. Since he wasn't highly educated, he started reading a lot of books, and therefore educated himself. During his early 20s, he became an editor for the Baltimore Athenaeum, a young men's paper. Around 3 years later, in 1836, he started the Baltimore Literary Monument. This was basically a publication with poetry, music, and much more, created and published by T.S. Arthur and John N. McJilton. Creating this inspired him to make more of his own novels. His novels were such a success, and there was only one author that outsold his works. T.S. Arthur kept writing, but at the same time, his eyesight became worse. He had an extremely hard time seeing in the 1880s, and in February of 1885, he was not able to leave his home. He died the next month on March 6, 1885. Some other works by T.S. Arthur are The Young Wife's Book, Fanny Dale, Woman's Trials, The Tailor's Apprentice, The Fireside Angel, The Seamstress, 10 Nights in a Bar Room, The Debtor's Daughter, The Angel and the Demon, and The Hand But Not the Heart. In An Angel in Disguise, a mother of 3 who is hated by everyone in her village dies. 2 of her children are adopted by families, while the 3rd child, Maggie, is left alone. This is because the families don't want to deal with Maggie's disability. A kind man named Joe Thompson takes Maggie for the night. He knew that his wife would not approve of the child, so he was going to bring her to the poorhouse the next morning. When Joe brought Maggie home in his arms, his wife became extremely angry and started yelling at him. Joe talked to his wife and told her to think of her mother who had died and how lonely she would be. She didn't know what to do, but she said that they could keep her for a bit. While Joe went to work, Mrs. Thompson took care of Maggie. She became very close to her. They ended up keeping Maggie for the next days, and the next day, and the next day. They never let her go. Joe Thompson and his wife had nothing and no one to care for. An angel had come into their house, disguised as a sick and helpless child, and filled all its dreary chambers with the sunshine of love. A few different literary elements were used in this story. One of them was conflict. The main conflict of the story was when Mrs. Thompson couldn't decide whether to keep Maggie or not. She had to not only think of herself, but what her husband wanted, and how it would affect their lives. A second element used in this story was the use of metaphors. Here's an example from the story. A deep drawn breath was followed by one of relief, as the weight lifted itself from his heart. I believe that the theme for An Angel in Disguise was everlasting love, because of the love given by the angel in disguise, Maggie. The love that her new parents showed her was beautiful and everlasting. In my opinion, I would rate this book a 4.7 out of 5, because the story part of this book was very enjoyable and sweet. The downfall of this book is that many words used by T.S. Arthur were extremely difficult to understand, causing me to look up words in the dictionary. This book may not be suitable for children under the age of 12 due to the maturity needed to understand the concepts of the information given and the higher level vocabulary words used. So this brings me to the end of this presentation. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.